there, Jody here, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over some of my favorite TV shows of 2024. Yes, I'm super late with this video, but you know what? That happens sometimes, you know? So, because I am quite late making this video, I'm only going to go over my top 5 favorite TV shows of 2024. And so without any further ado, let's get on to today's video. I first should probably say that this is going to be a very casual kind of video where I kind of like just chat about my favorite shows. So, this is not going to be like a review of these TV shows by any means. Just kind of casually me talking about these TV shows, and I'll probably ramble a little bit because I didn't plan out what I was going to say. But, whatever. So now for my top 5 favorite TV shows of 2024. So number 5 goes to The Traitors on Peacock. This is a reality-based competition series, and all the contestants on the show are from other reality shows that you've probably seen. And so this show didn't start last year, but I started watching it last year, so that's why I'm including it on this list. And reality-based competition series are not really like shows that I'm usually interested in watching. When it comes to reality shows, I'm more of like a housewives kind of reality TV show watcher. So what made me kind of curious about the show is I watch What Happens Live a lot, and Andy Cohen, like, it just seemed like for a moment in time he was like constantly talking about this show, like on every Watch What Happens Live episode. And so at some point I was like, let me just watch this show already to see what like all the hype is about. And so I tuned in, and Andy Cohen was definitely right. This show is just like so good. It's very entertaining, and I just like it a lot. It's like once you start watching it, you just kind of want to watch all the episodes. And so yeah, it's a really great show. Highly recommend it. And I also have to mention how great Alan Cummings is on the show as the host. He's just fantastic. And on a side note, I actually got to see him on Broadway many years ago. I saw him in the Broadway revival of Cabaret in 2014, and he was fantastic in that show as well. So I was not surprised that he was so fantastic on The Traitors. Is fantastic on The Traitors, but highly recommend this show. Now moving on to number 4, that would be Sweetpea on Starz. This show is actually based on a book that is part of a book series. So sometimes when I hear about a book being adapted, I'm like, interested perhaps in reading the book first, but then I found out it was part of a book series, and I know myself, I'll want to read every book in the series, and I just didn't feel like getting all the books, so I was just like, I'll just watch the show. But I was going to watch the show regardless because the star of the series is Elle Purnell. I believe that's how you say her name, but she's been on a few of my favorite shows. She was on Sweet Bitter, which is one of my favorite books that was adapted into a TV series, and she's also on the show Yellow Jackets. And so I was always going to watch the show because she's just like such a fantastic actor, and she's once again so amazing on this show. Yeah, this show is a very, very dark drama that has some awkward moments of humor. And if I had to compare this show to other shows to give you an idea of what the show is about, it's basically like The Office meets Dexter. On this show, like I said, very heavy, very dark, and but it's a really, really great show. It was like one of those shows that like once I started watching it, like I couldn't wait to watch the next episode. And also this show, when I heard about it, I kept hearing it billed as like a limited series. So I wasn't expecting it to leave on a cliffhanger or anything. And then like, I get to the finale and something happens towards the end of the episode. It's like a real shocking moment, very, very surprising. And if they had left it at that moment to end the show really could have been like a limited series, because in a way. But then there was like a moment like right after that moment, and it was like, ugh, can't leave it like that. That's actually like a real cliffhanger. Like that show, season 1, was the biggest cliffhanger of a show I have seen in quite some time. And so thankfully, I did hear, I believe, that the show did get renewed for another season. So I don't know if season 2 is going to be based on the second book in the series. It really doesn't matter to me because I'm not planning on reading the series, but in case you were aware. But yeah, this show is so good. Highly recommend. Moving on now to number 3. So number 3 is Presumed Innocent on Apple TV. And this show it's a courtroom drama that's based on the book of the same name by Scott Turow. That's actually a part of a book series. I believe the 3rd book in the series is actually coming out sometime this year. But, once again, I was I was assuming, honestly, I was going to read this book before watching the show because the trailer looks so good and the creative team involved, David Kelly is involved in this show, I believe, the making of this show, and he's done other great shows like Big Little Lies and other shows I can't remember of at the moment, but, the cast and the creative team, I was like, this is going to probably be like a really great adaptation. But then it came closer to the premiere date, and the book was like $20 and it was quite a big book, and I was just like, it takes me a while to finish a book, and I just wanted to watch the show already at that point, so I skipped reading the book. And at this point, it probably seems pointless because I know how the show ends, unless the book ends differently. I don't know. But yeah, this has a really great cast. Can't remember if I said it's a courtroom drama, but that's the kind of show it is. And Jake Gyllenhaal's on the show. Peter Skarsgård's on the show. I can't remember anyone else's name who's on the show at this point in time. But it has a really great cast in it. And an unexpected element of the show that I wasn't expecting, which I kind of really liked, was at times on this show, it was kind of like overacted and over the top, like a bit campy, the acting. And I wasn't expecting that for this show, but you know what? It worked for this show, and I really liked it because I like over the top, campy, shows and acting at times. But you know what? It worked for the show. I liked it a lot. But yeah, this is a very dark, heavy show. Also, despite the acting being overacted, over the top at times, but it's really good, and the show did get renewed for another season. I believe with this show, it's going to be more like an anthology series, so I don't know if that means season 2 is going to be based on a book or just a completely different story. I also don't know if any of the cast is returning for season 2, but I guess we'll find that out when season 2 happens. So now moving on to my second favorite show of the year, which is not a TV show but more a network, and that's Bravo TV. So like I mentioned earlier, Andy Cohen is the reason I started watching the Traitors, because I watch What Happens Live a lot. Yeah, I love all the shows on Bravo. I don't really watch a lot of the Below Deck series, but basically if it's a housewife series, Summer House, Vanderpump Rules, Southern Hospitality, Southern Charm, I watch it all. And it's like one of the first TV shows I usually go to when I watch something on TV. Yeah, they're just really great shows to take your mind away from reality for a moment in time. They're just fun, and I love them a lot. And obviously I watch What Happens Live too. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, Housewife, the Bravo universe is just amazing. I'm very happy for it. I'm very thankful for it. And I think my camera's going out of focus. Whatever. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for, my number one favorite show of 2024. And that goes to Dexter Original Sin on Showtime. So this show is basically a prequel series to like the original Dexter series that starred Michael C. Hall. This show is like really about I think it takes place in I want to say the 80s. And it's basically how Dexter came to be Dexter. And, when it comes to a series, whether it be like a reboot or a revival or like a prequel like this show, it's very difficult to get everything just right where it really does feel like the original series. And this show was done perfectly. Everything about this show was it was done just right. Like the casting was absolutely amazing, and the show just felt like the original series. And Michael C. Hall's not on the show, but he does the voiceovers for Dexter on the show, and so he's still part of the series in some way. He's just not on screen. Just voiceovers. Like he's the voiceover on this show. And the actor who plays Dexter, he is Patrick Gibson, and when I was watching this, I was like, he is so good as Dexter. And I was like, he looked familiar to me though. I was like, I think I maybe recognize him from like another show he's been on or a movie or whatever. But then I looked up to see what other projects he's been on, and I was like, he was on the TV show The OA on Netflix, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was one of my favorite shows ever. It's very much a hidden TV gem on Netflix, and I'm getting off track here. But that show, the way it ended, it's like we needed another season after that. Or at least a movie. It was just such a wild ending for that show. But he was great on that show too, and I was like, I'm such a real fan of that show. So yeah, he's great on this show as well. Yeah, it just really felt like the original series. Everything about this show, if you like Dexter, you'll like this show. you know, pretty sure you'll like the show. I like the show, and I like the original series Dexter. Yeah, so that's it for my favorite TV shows of the year. Like I said, I didn't know what I was going to say in this video. I kind of just made it like a casual like chat where I just talk about my favorite shows of last year. And I definitely rambled a lot probably, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. So thanks so much for watching today's video, and until next time, bye.